At this moment, Orus Hill International Hotel. Shoud's motorcade stopped a row directly in front of the hotel. Before he got out of the car, the security personnel had already rushed down and wiped out everyone around him. At this time, the hotel's manager also brought dozens of security guards and greeted him graciously. He respectfully said to Shoud's assistant, "May I ask Mr. Su, what can we do for you? As long as there is, please Mr. Su bring it up, we will definitely go all out." Shoud's assistant said coldly, "It's not used here for the time being. You let all your people back off. Don't let any of your staff run into Mr. Su without permission. As for other guests, you must not allow them within 10 meters of Mr. Su." The hotel manager nodded without hesitation, and said graciously, "As long as there is anything specific, please speak up." Shoud got out of the car with Steve Hogwitz at this time. After getting out of the car, Shoud straightened his collar and said in a somewhat majestic tone, "Steve, let's have dinner together tonight, by the way. Also communicate in detail the details of your son's disappearance." Steve was naturally flattered, and said hurriedly, "Okay Mr. Su. I'm causing you trouble." Shoud asked him again, "Oh yes, which room do you live in? Do you know the room number?" Steve said, "Because the rooms above the executive deluxe suite are gone, I can only book a normal deluxe suite. I don't know the specific room number. I don't know until after checking in at the front desk." Shoud said indifferently, "The rooms above the executive deluxe suite are gone, because I have completely covered the entire executive floor." Steve was taken aback for a moment, and hurriedly complimented, "No wonder, Mr. Su's handwriting is really too big." Shoud waved his hand slightly, and said calmly, "What's the deal? If it weren't for the agreement with the Wade family, I would have bought this hotel with ease." With that, he opened his mouth and said to his assistant, "Say hello to the hotel manager, change the room to Mr. Steve and let him live next door to me." The assistant immediately nodded and said, "No problem, I'll let the front desk arrange it." Steve was a little embarrassed at once, because he did not come alone this time, he also brought some entourages and bodyguards. It's just that those people had no chance to get on Shoud's motorcade, so they had to take a taxi to the hotel. They haven't arrived yet. If he lives on the executive floor alone and is separated from his other entourage bodyguards, it will be more or less troublesome. Shoud saw his concerns and said, "Well, let me arrange another room for you. You can let your assistant live in, but your bodyguard should not live on the executive floor. My people are here. It will definitely make you safer." Steve knew in his heart that he didn't have many bodyguards. Coupled with the fact that his son had brought them to China before, almost all the entourage had disappeared, so there were not many people who could be used in Orus Hill, and the security force was not strong. But Shoud is different. He is the second child of the Su family. The Su family is so strong, secretly don't know how many masters are protecting his safety at all times. For Steve, if he can live on the same floor with Shoud, or even next door, his own safety can also be greatly guaranteed. So he was very grateful and said, "Thank you Mr. Su, you are really taking care of me." Shoud smiled slightly, and said to Steve with a lofty posture, "In China, as long as you have a good relationship with the Su family, no matter where you are, we can keep you unblocked." After that, he asked Steve, "Do you know the name of your son's college classmate in Orus Hill? I will ask someone to check her information now." Steve hurriedly said, "I once heard my son talk about it. It seems to be called Doris. It is said that this woman is quite capable. She is the chairman of a very large listed company in Orus Hill." Shoud looked at his assistant and said in a serious tone, "I will give you 5 minutes to check. What is the origin of this Doris?" "Okay boss." 5 minutes later. As soon as Shoud stepped into his presidential suite, his assistant hurried over and said, "Boss, I have already investigated. That Doris is the vice chairman of Orus Hill Emgrand Group. She is very famous in Ores Hill and a well-known entrepreneur. Quote. Shoud nodded and said, before 12 o'clock this evening, bring Miss Doris over to see me. I have something to ask her in person. The assistant hurriedly said, Boss, Doris flew to Hong Kong early this morning. They have real estate-related cooperation in Hong Kong. Go to Hong Kong? Shoud frowned slightly. At first, he was a little confused, but quickly realized that he came here today with a temporary motive. It seems that this person shouldn't escape Ores Hill intentionally, but can only say that it was a coincidence. So he nodded and said, then you can keep an eye on what's going on at the airport. Once this Doris returns to Ores Hill, tell me immediately. After that, he asked again, what is the origin of the Emgrand Group you mentioned? The assistant hurriedly explained. The Emgrand Group is Ores Hill's largest group company with a market value of more than 100 billion. It was originally a real estate company born and raised in Ores Hill, but it seems to have been wholly owned by the Wade family last year. Acquired by the Wade family? Shoud asked in surprise. What is the intention of the Wade family to buy a real estate company in Ores Hill? This is not clear. The assistant said truthfully, I only know that there are rumors that the boss behind the Emgrand Group is the Wade family's, but who he is in the Wade family is currently unclear. Shoud snorted, isn't there just a few people in the Wade family? Cheng Ying is dead. Rest of his brothers are mediocre people. The assistant nodded and asked, Boss, since this Doris belongs to the Wade family, do we still need to move her? Shoud immediately replied, Move, of course. This woman is the only possible clue I can find at the moment. I can't just give up just because she is from the Wade family. After that, Shoud said in a cold voice, as long as she is not aware of it, and don't leave any evidence, the Wade family won't be able to talk to us. Okay boss, I get it. Shoud lowered his voice and continued to order. Now we will select 10 masters and check the whereabouts of Leona and Ziyu in major hospitals in the city from recent days. I think if they are still alive, they should have a high probability now of being there. They were treated secretly in a certain hospital. You lead someone to find them for me. I have a great reward for them. The assistant hurriedly asked him, Boss, what should I do after I find them? Shoud smiled coldly. Inject a little bit of ricin to their food and use 10 times the lethal dose to make sure they can't escape death no matter how hard their luck is with them.